Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I guess good afternoon if you're joining us from across the Atlantic. My name is Trevor Kluk, and today I am hosting this webinar, but I am also joined by two of my colleagues here at Jonas Club Software. With me today, I have Colby Spooner, an account manager, and Andrew Miller, also an account manager. How you doing, guys?
Good, thanks, Trev.
Doing pretty good, Trev. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for joining, and it was great to see you guys at both these shows this year. Before we get into the content for today, I just wanted to kind of go over our agenda. Just going to go over a bit of housekeeping about this webinar so that everybody who's listening today knows kind of how the format's going to go. Then we'll talk about some of the awesome trends that we saw at both the PGA and the CMAA show this year. And then if we have some time, hopefully I will have some questions from our audience, and I'll throw those to you guys so that you can give them a little bit more detail based on what we present today. So just a bit of housekeeping. Everybody that's on the line today that's listening, you are muted. So if you do have a question, we do encourage you to please use the chat or the questions function within GoToWebinar. If you type that into us, we'll be monitoring that, and then we'll be hopefully answering those at the end, like I mentioned. And we will be recording this session, so if you want to share this with a colleague, or maybe you have to drop out at some point to go address something at the club, we will be sending this to everybody who registered, so no worries there. Just before we get into things, I like to give a kind of bit of background and overview of Jonas Club Software. A lot of people don't really know much about Jonas other than maybe the little piece of it that they use at their club. But Jonas has actually been around for 30 years, and we've been quite fortunate as clubs have evolved and the needs of clubs have evolved, so has Jonas right along with them. We've grown to now have 13 brands, which you'll see in this circle here. And they're kind of broken up into three separate groups. We have our back office software brands, which include Jonas Club Management, Club Systems Group, which many of you might have used. Plus we have our online brands. This would be our club websites like ClubHouse Online, Members First. And then we also have some value added products and brands. And we might be touching on a few of those today, like Metrics First, Club Pay, Private Club Network. And these are just additional softwares and companies that can help your club really thrive. So you take all of these brands together, and we have about 250 total employees. Most of them are based in North America with our head office in Toronto. We also have a few offices in the UK. And what we believe at Jonas is that we have many businesses that work at a club, but they're all under one roof. And we want to provide technology that is able to address all of these different areas at a club, but at the same time allow them to be integrated so that your member file, your members' information is passed, accessible through all these different areas. So whether you're scheduling classes, or you've got a fitness facility, or maybe you have a outdoor dining, you have a courts, all of these different areas are served by our technology. And to be honest, if you look at those 13 brands, we probably address anything you could do at a club from a software perspective. So this brings us to our topic for today. So we're going to talk about some of the trending technologies that we saw at the PGA show as well as the CMAA World Conference. And I'd like to kind of set the stage by first giving some reasons why we believe that these technologies are probably trending. And I think we can point to a couple main factors. And the first is club membership demographics. A recent report that was put out by GGA Partners stated that members are joining clubs at a younger average age than ever before. And the largest growing demographic is the Generation X. And I think that these new members are much more comfortable with technology than probably the baby boomers or the greatest generation that came before them. And it's been a part of their life, their working life. They're probably using it outside of work. And when they join a club, they just come with a different set of expectations of how they're going to interact. They want to do things the same way they would when they book a vacation or make a reservation to go out for dinner. or even shopping online. And the second thing is probably the ongoing staffing challenges that are being faced by clubs across North America. And as we know, despite those staffing challenges, clubs still need to provide that expected level of service. So they're looking for technology and solutions that can really help them provide the same level of exceptional member experience that they always have, but they just have less staff to do it, right? And there's a desire for technology to kind of create efficiencies wherever possible. And then lastly, I think there's just a bigger demand by both club management and club boards to, make some really informed decisions based on data that they can track, whether that's about their members or their club's finances. Clubs want to run themselves as businesses that are fiscally responsible, and, they require better decision making. And club managers can be empowered when they have, evidence to present their strategy or their plans to their board. And that's something that we've just noticed they want more and more access to. So I think we should start. Colby, let's jump into some of the trends we've been seeing. And how about we first start at the demand for that mobile member experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Trev. So as we jump right into it, taking a look at the new ClubHouse Online app right away, Trev, you can jump into the next slide, actually. We're able to see that visual improvement right off the top. So with this app, you're going to have the ability to have multiple formats, multiple layouts that are available to you. It just appears to be a standing image, but the app that we have now actually has a scrolling background. So you can have that, you can do the still image, you can have a tile layout. So again, just kind of offering that more customized hands-on feel there. Go back. Thanks. So looking right at the middle image, you can see right away the navigation has been changed, and we can actually set this up into submenus. So if you'd like to have all your reservation modules in one place, you can do so, or if you would like to maybe categorize, dining and have reservations and online ordering there along with your menus, these options are now available to you. On that note too, you can also create like content only pages. So you'll be able to maintain these in your admin portal. So those are going to be great for, like I said, the menus, as well as maybe newsletters or any, rule changes, things like that, or, current events that you want to add as well. Looking off at the right image, we can see kind of your full menu of modules. So while you're able to customize that lower bar, you can kind of see it a little bit. We have like a book, eat, my bookings, events. Those are all customizable, and you can, move those around as you would like. But all the items that are over on the right there, you can include, like I said, any of those, content only pages, or you can set up, your member ID cards, or, reciprocal clubs you can see listed in there, as well as, maybe like bylaws or guest rules, things like that you just want to include off to the side. Moving along. So here we just have a couple images of what reservations would look like. So tea times is on the left, the dining is on the right. The colorways are going to directly mimic what you have set up at the club. So whether it's in your current online app or your current online solution, we're going to want to obviously match and mimic that as well as we can. What you're going to notice is that for those of you that are using just the online side of things, this is going to look and carry a pretty similar view and feel for those members, as well as for those that are having and using the current mobile app. The keystrokes are going to be pretty similar. So you're not going to have to worry about retraining your members and how to use this. So while we obviously want to update and, like Trevor said, kind of keep up with the times, we also want to keep things pretty similar, as we know people don't like change too much. So we want to make sure that that has the same look and feel. Other than just kind of maybe some relocation of certain modules with the new one, we're able to maintain what that would look like and feel like for your current membership now. So
one thing I've heard, Colby, that was really cool, because I know in the past people had asked about, having to remember their password to get into the app whenever they would open it up. And I think this new app has a really convenient way of just allowing the member to open it up and not having to use a password. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. So for sure, with this now Face ID is available. So after your first login and you put in your member credentials, you'll enable Face ID just as you would with any of your current applications. And simply once you're logged in, if you're being able to log in right away, you can access and do anything. But if you wanted to make any reservations, it would ask for that Face ID, and then from there it verifies, hey, this is who's using it, and you're good to go. So no more having to key in every single time you log into the app, which is great.
Very cool. So keeping kind of along the same lines of like the mobile experience, but maybe shifting to how staff are relying on mobile. We got a lot of requests at the shows about this new tech.
Yeah, absolutely. So diving into mobile point of sale, this is, as you mentioned, this has been a widely requested item over the last year that we did bring out, and it's been out, as you can see on the right there, it's in the cellular form, which lives in the list view. But as we brought out the tablet form, we rolled it out last year, and throughout the course of the last 12 months, we've made some definite improvements in that regard. So we can take a look at a couple of those. Go ahead with the next slide, please. So right away, when we log in, you're going to see any chits that are available that you have working. So if you've already logged in on a workstation, you have things going for you. Those are going to be available for viewing right there. If not, it'll just be a blank screen waiting for you, so you can either start a new chit with one of those plus boxes, or down on the bottom left where it says new chit. As I just mentioned, this is a work off of your current workstation, so anything that's happening there, you're able to work back and forth off of with this. So if you're running by, if your staff is running by for that matter, and want to make any changes, they can quickly log in, and all the information is going to be there as well. On that note too, when logging in to start the day, it's going to take about 30 seconds to load. And what this is doing is pulling in all of your member data, as well as going to be pulling in all of your menu options, modifiers, prep options, things like that. And where this is coming into play is, while this is going to operate on your local Wi-Fi, or if you have cell signal, you could run this off of like a Verizon or AT&T network. But if you were to step out of range and don't have network, well, we've pulled in all of that information, so that now it can run in an offline mode. So where this is great is for clubs that have beach service that, as they get further down, they're a little bit away from network, they can still keep key in options and operate that way, as well as, pool areas, or for those that have beverage carts, same type of thing. They're away from that network. Once they get back in touch with it, it's going to process everything that's been done. So in that regard, any settlements that have happened, or sending out orders, all those are going to be kind of sitting on hold, and then once you reconnect, it's going to go ahead and fire that order. Let's go ahead and take a next slide. Take a look at the next slide there, Trev, and kind of see what the menu is going to look like. So thanks. As we get into the menu area, again, when a chit's created, it's already linked to the outlet. On the bottom right of the previous page, there was a workstation, so you'll be linked into the previous outlet. But once that's created, that menu is going to pop up. The menus and the buttons are going to be the same as the workstation setup. So from a staff perspective, really easy to use, a lot of the same keystrokes. All of your menu buttons on here also carry the same mapping. So hot items go to hot stations, and bar items go to the bar, and salads go to cold stations, things like that. So from a functional standpoint of things, there's no like remapping or things that need to be done for a club. We're carrying all that information over into the app here. All those modifiers, again, when you click into any one of your menu items, are going to be the same. So mandatory options such as maybe like roll types or temperature, those would have to be selected first before you can go into any of your sides or prep options, things of that nature, which is obviously great. Taking a look at the bottom bar there, you can see a few different things. So down on the bottom right, this is where you're going to send off orders. Right next to it, the next order. If you want to hold off on items, or if somebody says, hey, we're running a quick meeting don't bring anything out for 30 minutes. Well, you can hold that order there and revisit it to send it out a little bit later. But clicking send order is going to fire that back, and again, appropriate it to the correct outlets. You can see print receipt, so you can print out to your, again, the mapping is going to be the same, so it'll print to your workstation area. We have seen clubs also deploy Bluetooth printers. So in some of those areas, like I said, beach or pool outlets, they have hip printers that they can print out right at their side and be able to hand to the members that way. And then in settling chits, this is where one of the new developments has come, but down there where you can settle chit, you have the option to settle via cash, quick member charge, which is obviously always going to be the easiest. But we also now have an integration with Stripe that will allow you to process credit cards. This does need to be on network, so for those outlets, you do need to be connected to do so. But in doing so, now we're able to obviously process credit cards right off of these and settle that. So whether it's a member obviously just wants to pay for it by card, or if their guest steps up and says, "Hey, I'd really like to take care of this," you now have the ability to settle that via credit card and on the mobile point of sale tablet. So yeah,
Very cool.
Just about wraps it.
Oh, thank you. I think kind of sticking along the same lines of the dining area, but maybe giving members a bit of control over, when they want to place an order, or maybe it's even using it for a retail use case. We can maybe shift over to the online ordering application. This is still a very popular one. It became extremely popular during the shutdown over the pandemic. And I'm going to ask Andrew if you could maybe jump in, and I will give you control and you can share us your screen so we can walk through the online ordering.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Trev. All righty. Colby, are you able to see my ClubHouse Online Member Central screen?
Yeah, you're good.
We can.
Awesome. So jumping into this, online ordering, it's available on the website as long as the mobile app as well. So members will be able to jump in online if they want to place an order for pickup, or if they wanted to do it through their mobile device as well. If they're at the club, maybe they're on the course, maybe making the turn, or wanted to put in dinner for when they finish their round, they could go ahead and do that through online ordering. So under here, we have our Eat tab. This is how we set it up. And we go to our online ordering module. And then from here, we'll have our different areas that we can order online from. Whatever areas that you guys want to set up. If you have one area, if you have multiple areas, you guys can go ahead and set those up. You can limit the menu, or you can make it as expansive as you'd like. But for golfing purposes to start, we'll go into our halfway house. If we do have a golfer that maybe wants to pick up some food at the turn, we can go ahead and do this through here. And then you can go ahead and set up for now or future, completely up to you guys, what you'd like to take. And then our different order types are customizable to what you would like. So if it's to go, we can go ahead and set that up. And we have it for now. We would go ahead and click continue. You can also choose your hours of operation for each station as well. So if you want to shut down the halfway house at a certain time and not be able to take online orders from there anymore, you can go ahead and set those specific hours. We'll continue, and this is going to bring us to the menu that we can choose from. So if we drop down to our beverages, we'll have our different options that members can order from the halfway house. So if we wanted to go ahead and maybe get a couple beers, we could add those to the cart. And then if we just wanted to grab maybe a hot dog, we can have our different drop-down menus. So if they have the option to choose a side for an add-on price, we can set that up as well. And then all the different options that they have. So if we wanted white bread, and then we can choose our toppings within there. And again, anything that's an additional cost will also be set up within here as well. So we'll add some toppings in there. Let's just say we wanted 2 of them. We could do that, and we'll add it to the cart. And then if we wanted to grab some snacks, a round of golf is never complete without some Snickers. So we'll get a couple of those. And then if we're all set to go, we have our cart menu down here. If we click into that, it will show our current order. We can make any modifications that we need before we send this through. Got our order type. And if there's any notes that they would like to add, they can do that at the bottom in the notes section. They want to add something like that just to give the staff a time frame and when they will be there, they can set that up. And then we would just click submit order. And that's going to go ahead and get sent through to the appropriate area. For the halfway house, you can have it set up where it goes to the POS or directly to the kitchen printer. Halfway house is normally just go straight to the printer since it's going to be right away. But you can also have it for areas where within like the grill room, if it's a future order, it can go to the POS system for approval first. And then from there, the employee would go ahead and put that into the kitchen printer for the order. Again, same thing, you've got your different areas. We've got our hours of operation. We can choose our different types of pickup that we have. So if we want a curbside pickup, that will prompt us to then enter our make, model, license plate number if you'd like. You can get as detailed as you want with this. Go ahead with that for now. And let's say we wanted to schedule it for the future. And we just wanted to pick up dinner for tonight, and we're gonna pick it up at 6:15, we'll say. And if you want to do future dates as well, you can, or you can keep it at the same date. And from here, it'll be the same thing as I just showed you with the halfway house. And again, you can choose your menu items that go into here rather than have your entire menu. We'll add a salad. We can choose our different dressings. And again, you can have all your different menu options within here as you like. Say we want to add shrimp to that. That will go to the cart. We'll close that. And then our entrees as well. If we wanted to jump in and order a steak, we have our different entree options. So if we wanted to order a baked potato, we could set it up that when you click baked potato, we'd have a different drop-down menu that allows you to choose, okay, do you want sour cream? Do you want butter? Do you want bacon, cheese on your baked potato? So we can be specific to the members' likings. And then for our different steak types or temperatures, we would go ahead and choose there. And if you want to have another menu that shows steak toppings, they can choose from that as well. And we can go ahead and add to the cart. And then same thing from here moving forward. Any notes that we want to add at the bottom, we can go ahead and add. And any modifications that we need to make, we can make up here before actually placing that order and sending it through. Once we hit submit order, that is sent through, and it will go to that appropriate area that you will be ordering from. All right, and once again, this is available on the website, and it's also available in the app as well, so members can go in the app and order that.
So those three applications, the mobile app for members, online ordering, and the mobile point of sale are all kind of, I think, addressing some of those reasons I mentioned earlier about, if you have staff shortages and you want to give your members the ability to book things on their own without coming into the club or calling versus, having to come in to make an order for a food pickup. Those things are going to cut down on a lot of the demand on your staff to actually do it with pen and paper. And then from a, mobile point of sale perspective, same thing. If you've got 3 staff running your dining and one of them has to be in the patio and you don't want that person on the patio having to constantly come back into the dining room to go to the POS for every order, it's a huge time savings, right?
Yeah, to touch on mobile POS, you don't need to buy any additional licenses or anything. It's essentially just an extension of your POS terminal. So however many POS licenses you have, that's how many tablets you can have up and running.
Excellent. So let's kind of shift gears a bit now. And, I touched on, this demand that we kept hearing about for data. Club managers, boards, they want to get into the member data to make better decisions. And so maybe we could take a look at a few of the technologies that are available to help clubs with that.
Yeah, so first we'll jump into metrics first. This is our data dashboard, and it's gonna, KPIs for the club. And you'll be able to dig into this based off of your reservations. And then your POS systems as well, as it's going to link back into metrics first. This will cover about 95% of the reports that you need. But jumping into here, this is our homepage here, based off of what you have set up on the back end within your membership profiles. If they're a new member, if they owe money over 90 days, VIP member would be like a board member if you do tag them in their file as that. and then if they have a birthday as well. And based off your reservations, it's going to show who's going to be at the club today, a reason why they're going to be there, why you would need to talk to them, and then when they're going to be there and where. Jumping over to the left side is going to give you your today's bookings. And again, this is based off your different reservation modules. So if you've got tea times, you can go ahead and see how many tea times you've got booked for today so far. And then it'll also show you where you're at compared to yesterday as well. As we move down on the homepage, you'll be able to see who's expected at the club today. You'll be able to check on your month-to-date sales where you're at, and then your prior year as well. And then it'll drill down to your F&B sales specifically for the month. And then last piece on the homepage we'll touch on is just going to give you your today's bookings by the hour. You'll be able to look at that and see when you're going to be busiest. And within those busiest hours, you'll see what reservations will be taking up most of that time. But there's 4 dashboards we're going to touch on real quick. First one's going to be our membership. We'll touch on each one very quick. Churn is just going to be all your attrition percentages, acquisition, resign members, new members, all that good information. And it's also going to show you all that information based off of the past year or so. Up top here, you'll be able to filter by different membership types and statuses that you guys have. So if you have your different ages in there, we can filter by that. And then our different types of memberships as well, we can filter that way. Jumping into our demographics, this will just be a good area where you can break down the demographics within the club. If we wanted to take a peek at our members that are 40 to 49, it's going to go ahead and load that for us down here, and we can look at all of our members within that area. The 3 dots in the right-hand corner will just allow us to download this to an Excel if we'd like, and we can filter more from there. If you wanted to break down by gender, you could also do that as well, and it will show you all your different age demographics there by gender, and then it'll pull that file for you as well for members. Life cycle is just going to give you a quick life cycle overview of your club. You'll be able to see the average age of new members, and all the way up to the average age of your current members in your membership life cycle, along with a generational piece that'll show you age-wise where your club is at. Members at risk, this is a pretty cool piece that a lot of people really seem to like, and this is just going to be based off of their POS spending and then their visits from the club as well. It's going to give you a risk score of 1 to 5, 5 being most likely to leave, and based on their change in their spending and their change in visits, it'll give you their age as well. It'll give you an idea of who's at risk of maybe leaving the club. If we see a 41-year-old whose visits are down 50% and spending is down 61%, could be an issue we can jump in front of. We always say if it saves 1 member, it pays for itself. Jumping down to our sales item, this is a really cool piece where you can dig down into each area of the club that you have a POS, see what's moving, what's not moving. If you need to do a menu revamp at all, this would be a good area. So this will show you, and based off of your time periods, during setup, you'll be helped to choose your specific time periods that you like. And you also have your membership types as well that you can break down. If we wanted to jump into, let's say, the grill room, it's going to populate all our different menu options within the grill room. And if we wanted to look at, let's say, entrees in the grill room, from there, we could then look into what entrees are moving. Maybe we bump that price a little bit just to help increase revenue at the club, and what's costing the club money and what's not moving. If we want to get even more specific, we can click into each individual item, and we can actually look at who's spending the most money and how much items they've actually purchased of that. We can also click into a member's name, and those are going to give us their demographics that are going to pull up. And we can also look at their member spending history as far as mandatory contributions, so their dues, and then their discretional spending as well. We can jump down and go into all different areas of spending. We can look at their social interactions. Who do they dine with the most? Who do they play golf with the most? You can see their interactions and their net change over the past 12 months as well. So you can dig pretty deep into how often they're playing golf, they're dining, their member spending history. We can jump into that just simply by just clicking into their name. Again, this is all pulling from your Jonas backend system. Last piece we'll jump on will be our top spenders. Here you'll just be able to look who your top spenders are within the club, and you can look at different areas within the club as well. And one more piece actually we'll look at is our club utilization. This will just show you, over the past 12 months where you're at with visits, average visit per membership, and then you'll be able to say your discretional spend per visit, and then your food and beverage spend per visit. It'll also show you your prior year as well to see if you are getting more or less out of members when they come to the club. A couple pieces to jump on quick within our food and beverage menu. Food and beverage spending here will just give you an idea of total over the past year. And all of these graphs can be moved into a data view. So if it's easier for you to view that way, there's no data in that one, but we can view them through there as well. And then our different covers by outlets, we can jump into there, and then our monthly sales, we'll be able to jump into that. And then our bookings and reservations tab, we'll jump into tea times. This is just going to give you an idea. You can go by membership class type, you can do your periods as well. We can just drill down to our tea times by day. If we want to get specific with a month, we can drill down there, our tea times by hour, and then our reservations overall. And then as far as dining reservations and court bookings, it's going to look very, very similar. It's just going to be based on a different type of reservation. So we can look at our most busy times by facilities, covers by facilities. We can jump into that. If we want to see our metrics from yesterday, they'll go ahead and be loaded in there. And then last piece we'll touch on is our financials. Revenue and expenses are going to look pretty much identical. One is just revenue, one is expenses. Up here, your GL periods will be loaded in. If you have multiple company codes, you can have those as well, and we can break it down by department too. On the left side is always going to be your monthly. On your right side is going to be your year-to-date, so we can look at our revenue by monthly and year-to-date within each department. We can also load up to prior years in here as well, so you can see how you're trending compared to prior years, and we can also include your 2023 budget here too, so you can go ahead and see how you're trending versus your budget. Right here is just going to give you a nice breakdown of where you're currently at versus your prior year, and then your budget as well. Down here, we'll have our different variants from budget by different departments. And as we scroll down, you'll be able to jump more into your revenues versus your budgets. Expenses, again, same thing. This is just going to be based off of your cost of goods sold, your operating expenses, and payroll. If you do have Club Pay with Jonas, you will be automatically be able to, information will get shot in there after you run your payroll. So it'll be up to date there. And then last cool piece we'll touch on that we've developed is our board member point of view. I know plenty of clubs, are asked to provide different reports for board members. So within here, you can go ahead and give them a login. All they'll be able to see is this board member point of view. And you get to pick and choose what reports that they're able to see. So whatever's necessary for them, you can make that available by a single login.
So this is a clearly very deep, robust platform, and I believe it's all online. This is an online application, so you can access it from any device, correct?
Correct, yep.
And because it is so deep, and there's so much that we could dig into, which you went through a lot, we are going to be holding another webinar, I believe, in 2 or 3 weeks' time. So if anybody is on the line today that wants to, get a more thorough look at this metrics first, definitely look out for that webinar being promoted over the next few weeks. Mm-hmm. Along the same lines, this is member data, but we also need to couple that with member sentiment, or how the members are actually feeling about the club. And Andrew, if you could maybe talk to us a bit about Member Insight and how that's been an effective tool for a lot of clubs.
Yeah, so Member Insight is our member survey platform. Again, it is web-based, and there's a couple different options we can do within here that we can survey members. You can have multiple departments and clubs with here, so we can filter by different departments. If we want to look at a certain date range, we can go ahead and set specifics on that. So we have 4 different types of surveys within Member Insight. Relational surveys would be along the line. If you want to have automatic surveys go out to members after their first 30 days at the club, 90 days, year, we can go ahead and set those up. Departments, these are going to be ones that are based off your POS system. So if you have a POS transaction and you want to set up for a survey to go out after POS transactions, we can set that up. And we can limit them so everyone's not getting hit with surveys every transaction. We can make it specific where they have to spend a certain amount of money to receive a survey. We can also set it up where they only receive a survey every, once a month or whatever specific timeline that you would like. Custom surveys, again, those are custom. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can make them. You can upload lists from member guest events, and you can survey guests. You can survey previous members. And then the last one you're not seeing within here is our static surveys. Those can be embedded into your website, your mobile app. If you want to have a tablet that you drop off at the table after someone dines, or you just want to have a tablet in the pro shop after people finish their round of golf and they want to jump in and leave a comment, that's a good way to get instantaneous feedback from members. Over here is going to be your star performers. The member insight does integrate with Jonas on your back end. So all your membership files will be pulled into here, your POS, and then you can also upload your employees into here as well and track how they are affecting your NPS score. For those that do not know what NPS score is, it stands for Net Promoter Score, and it ranges from -100 being the worst and 100 being the best. Up here is a live number that's going to show you what current Jonas clubs are at for their NPS score. So you can see how you're trending versus other clubs. Next, we'll jump into our activity, and we have a couple things we'll touch on here before we wrap up for the day. This is going to just show you all your responses and your follow-up items that you need to do. We have this set up where if someone leaves a negative survey score, it's going to prompt a response from staff. So within here, you'll be able to see the score they left, their comments that they had as well. It's all going to integrate their contact information. So we'll be able to see their phone numbers within here. You can leave your notes. If you talk to them in person, you can leave notes as well, and their email too. Now, there is a CRM system within Member Insight. If we go to our history up here, this is just going to show you a simple breakdown of all your previous interactions with that member. You'll be able to see different survey scores that they've left when you sent a survey and any responses that you've had with them. You can also assign survey responses to different staff members. So if we want to drop down, let's say we had a bar experience that wasn't good and we want to assign it to our bar manager. Let's say his name is Keith Edwards. You can click on Keith and that response will get sent over to Keith for him to follow up on that survey. Last part we'll jump onto is going to be our responses. And this is where you can really break down into different segments and areas of the club of what they're responding to. So this will show all members. Here's their NPS score. Here's all your different responses that we're getting within the last 30 days up here. Again, we can filter that out. We can go by department. If you really want to break down, we can get into these. Say you just wanted to take a peek at, okay, in the last 30 days, I want to see survey responses from our corporate members, their active members, and then between the ages of 35 and 44. That's now going to break down every single response in the last 30 days we've gotten in the survey that fits into that segment of the club. So we'll be able to see our NPS score there and different percentages of scores that we've received. And we can look at each response. It'll show us how many responses. And you can take a peek through those, see what you're getting from that segment of the club.
Excellent. So there's two things that I wanted to also share about kind of surveys that I've been hearing. In the customer experience space, there's this idea of survey fatigue where, you know, a company or a club might survey its members and just ask a question of their staff or their members and then basically not do anything or act on it. And people just stop answering surveys because they don't ever see any action. And what's really great about Member Insight is that closed loop of being able to assign something to someone and have them follow up with the person who was surveyed. Additionally, we've been hearing a lot about, you know, keeping club staff retention, and if you can survey your staff, you know, and finding out if they're happy in their positions, what some of the things that are maybe that could be improved, you might be able to also increase retention of your staff. And this Member Insight tool does allow you to do that. So thank you both guys for taking us through these trends. I want to take a look at some of the questions. We've had a bunch come in. So going back to maybe the start where we were speaking about the mobile app, Colby, in the navigation, I believe that there was a tab for a message center. And the question was, is there a way for members to talk to each other, or is the message center more for push notifications for the club?
Yeah, so right now the push notification is kind of where that's going to live. We are looking into creating that message portal for members to be able to communicate back or to create groups. So while it's not completely developed at this time, it is on our enhancement list and something we're looking into in the very near future.
Cool. So with the mobile point of sale, the question is it possible to identify which dishes go to the kitchen at what time, or can you create course separators? So I'm assuming if you are ordering an appetizer, a main, and a dessert, can you stagger those out to the kitchen?
Yeah, so in regards to that, we actually just had this conversation during the CMAA. So coursing is another item that we're working through and everything. So if coursing is set up, depending on the platform you're on, it can work in certain places. But if you want to say, hey, this needs to fire now, and then 10 minutes later, things of that nature, it's not set up for that at the moment. So like I said, it's on the enhancement list. It's something we're working through, but again, just out for development at the moment.
This one I think should be pretty easy for you. Can a member sign for the CHIT electronically?
Yeah, so that falls into the enhancement list. We're trying to capture member signature digitally right there, and that is often asked. So that's pretty high in the enhancement list that we're working through as well at this moment.
So can you just maybe talk about how the mobile point of sale app is available and like how a club would install it? Probably it would help to contact us and get that set up, but I believe it lives on both the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store.
Correct. Yep, it is on both iOS and Google Play markets. So effectively how things would work in that regard is if it's something that you chose to move forward with, you contact us. Obviously, as you know, Jonas does not provide hardware, so we have tested on iPads as well as various Android devices that we could recommend to you, but you would download those natively right on those tablets, and then from there we would work on the integration and setup from that side of things.
Great. So if you are interested in learning more, definitely reach out to us and we'll have somebody contact you about that. Let's switch over to Metrics First. So does Metrics First integrate with Jonas Encore? And if you're a Jonas Encore user, how would you go about accessing Metrics First?
Yeah, so I just threw it in the chat, but I'll touch on it as well. Yes, it is. It works with both Encore and JCM. It's going to pull all your different files and your POS as well. Yeah, it will pull everything from in there. It will pull all your metrics from JAM as well. I know I saw that question come through. But yeah, it'll pull all that information. There is an additional cost. It's a la carte by each dashboard. So if you only want the financials or the membership database, you can do that rather than get the full package.
Great. Question about mobile point of sale credit card settlements. I just saw it come in, and it's regarding PCI compliance. Would it pass PCI compliance?
Yeah, absolutely. So the integration we have set up with Stripe, and there was another question in there that kind of falls on this, with using the Stripe tool. So that is PCI compliant. You will see that, within the fee schedule with Stripe. So, and if, offline, if you want to reach out and explore this further, then we can definitely discuss, what that would look like with them. But obviously it's very reasonable, or we wouldn't have went down that road. In the conversation with Stripe and using it on the mobile point of sale platform, the question came in about using Elevon with their current workstations and would they work together? And the answer is yes. Again, this is an extension off of that. So if you chose not to use Stripe on the tablets and maybe have low volume on credit cards and they're just there, then you can circle back and process credit cards at your current workstation. So, and if not, if you want to deploy it, then you have the option to run either or, because at the end of the day, it's going to be batching into you regardless. So that can be taken care of there.
Great. And then the last one, we do have a lot. I'm sorry we didn't get to everybody's questions here, but on the Metrics First tool, can you create custom reports for different revenue outlets by day, week, trends, etc.?
So with Metrics First, there's no custom reporting. It's going to pull all the, like I said, 95% of the reports that you need. So those reports are within there, are canned reports. As far as creating different revenue by outlets, day, week, and trends, as long as on the back end with your POS, if you have your different outlets set up properly, it's going to pull that information that you're looking for into Metrics First. If you want different trends and by day, I know we're working on getting more custom with the date-wise within there, but as far as trends, no, it's kind of like what you see is what you get within there. There's not really much customization.
Yeah, and it is constantly being updated.
Yeah, I think Dan had asked the question twice, just to circle back on it. In regards to those, the custom, but what you were looking for with revenue by outlets for day of the week and and things like that. Those are available in there. We obviously can't click through every button as there's hundreds in there. So, but some of those items are in there. And again, if you want to see it a little bit further, then we're happy to do so.
So I think that's all we have time for today, but I want to just thank both of you for joining, as well as everybody that's on the line listening. We do have a couple more webinars coming up. We're going to have one every week. Next week is Member Insights, so you should be seeing the email coming in for that shortly if you'd like to get a more detailed view of that platform. And we will be sharing this recording of today's webinar out, hopefully in the next 24 hours. If you do have additional questions, we didn't get to your question, or you just want to maybe reach out, find out about pricing, or just get a little bit more of a specific demonstration, by all means, reach out to any of us. You can hopefully see our emails are up on the screen, and you can always reach out via the sales@jonasclub.com email as well, and we'd be happy to get in touch with you. So thanks, everybody. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, everyone.